Welcome to the Reddit Chronicles. Today we will be reading from Relationship Advice. Our first post is by Emergency Zombie. My 38F husband, 43M, refuses to give up his gym girlfriend or even talk about the issue. On Father's Day, I noticed my husband texting and smiling with someone, ignoring or not seeing me when I invited him to the table for breakfast. I got closer so he could notice me and saw he was texting an unknown woman. We've been married for 4 years and have a preschooler and a 1-year-old. I didn't bring it up besides asking, "Who is that?" since my mom was in town visiting. When I mentioned it later, I said I didn't know making friends of the opposite sex and not saying anything was okay for us. He didn't volunteer anything, but when pressed further mentioned that he'd been working out with her, which I know is 3 to 4 days a week for 2 to 3 hours before work most mornings. He ended up admitting he didn't tell me about her because he knew I'd be mad. Moreover, that he'll be working out with whoever he wants. Fast forward several one-sided vulnerable conversations, and 2 months after a lot of feeling sick to my stomach and sleepless nights, I finally laid it out. I didn't give him an ultimatum. I simply told him I can't sleep, that I feel heartbroken and constantly concerned, that if I was doing the same he'd feel awful. And crickets. I asked how long it was going to last and was met with, "There's no sign-up sheet in the gym." I told him I can't imagine continuing our relationship feeling like this and needed to know in words how he felt. He reported feeling the same, that I'm his wife and he loves me. My boundary is unacknowledged and so far unenforced. It's not that I think he did something with her, it's that he won't budge or say anything, knowing I'm hurting. I feel like I'm getting more heartbroken daily. The impulse to check his phone is hard to resist at times. I don't want to leave, but I need more than this lack of response from him. At no point have I asked him to stop going to the gym or working out with her. I told him I wouldn't ask that he's free to do what he likes, but that he should think of something he's comfortable with to address the issue and rebuild trust. I suggested having her over for dinner. You can guess how that went. He said nothing. Update. When he left for work this morning, a day later, I told him to think about what I said throughout the week. I appreciate all the support, including the comments that bring up that I may be jealous or have let my body go, or especially that I have been too permissive as a wife. I'm completely open to criticism in my personal arena. Update 2. He came home Monday night in a mood, refusing to eat dinner and arguing over unrelated issues, and eventually saying angrily, "Just so you know, we're no longer working out because of you." But I had phone records and screenshots of their conversations indicating many, as in a majority of deleted texts. I will never know what they said, and I frankly don't even care. Turns out he texted her showing her this post, and she, a sweetheart and a stranger, was the one who had the consideration to not work out anymore. By the way, not ever what I wanted. I wanted to know why on earth he's hiding a friend and deleting texts. I want to know why I'm not worth comforting, or at the very least, the truth, or a conversation on why he feels distant enough to lie. He stonewalled, shut me down, gave me the silent treatment all night and all day Tuesday. When he arrived home, I asked him if he wanted to talk or walk. As in, we're going to counseling and you're making the appointments, or I'm following through on one of my 5 divorce lawyer consult I had by phone on Monday. In the end, I asked to see his texts where I found out the above, that he doesn't have the balls to tell her himself what was going on. Just the cruelty to let me suffer another day having read my post, and to show my heart to a stranger and act like it was my fault. Had he at any point opened up about why he was hiding her? Had he not deleted texts after saying he wanted to rebuild trust? Had he given me any information or compassion, this would be very different. He didn't want to hand over the phone for me to check for more deleted texts one last time. And I mean the last time, because I'm not losing any more sleep over this. I had to call his mom to tell her to get his room ready before he handed it over. He says he loves me and wants to stay, that he didn't want to hurt me. He's asking if I still love him. He knows I do. I told him to take a hard look at whether or not he loves me. In light of the many other ways he showed me I'm worthless to him. I told him he was the most selfish person I've ever met. What a stupid and cowardly way to throw me away. For your information. 1. He is bodybuilding and commuting 40 minutes to get to this gym by work, 30 miles away. 2. He leaves at 4 o'clock in the morning to go to this gym, so confrontation is not a possibility. I can't get childcare at that time. 3. So many of you are absolutely right. The lack of response to me is the problem, independent of this poor other woman. In the comments, Rinyo writes, if you tell your partner that something hurts you and they keep doing it, it's no longer unintentional. OP, you deserve better. People know when things are inappropriate, especially becoming close with people of the opposite sex in a committed relationship. I would not even ask the internet on this one. I'd be seeking marriage counseling, and if he was opposed to that, I'd be seeking separation. Our next post is by Sensitive Option. Husband 36M wants me 35F to abort an unplanned pregnancy. We have a wonderful toddler. I don't know what to do. My husband and I have been together for almost 10 years. We have a wonderful 3-year-old, let's call him Bowen, who is a lot of work, but whom we both love to death. It was a planned and very much wanted pregnancy, and my husband is a very involved dad. He doesn't want more children though, due to the amount of work and stress it brings. I would love to have another, but I respect his stance and have been on hormonal birth control since Bowen was born. Fast forward to a few days ago when I started feeling constantly nauseous and took a pregnancy test just in case. Positive. I freaked out, not knowing that I was even pregnant, not knowing how my husband would react, not knowing if everything would work out. My husband took the news more calmly. He considered it for a day or two and finally said that while he feels sad and guilty about it, he can't do it, manage 2 kids, and wants me to abort the baby, as that's the best choice for our family. He thinks that 1 vote for abortion should mean abortion. I'm very much pro-choice, but I feel like I don't really get to choose. I fully agree that our toddler needs 2 happy parents more than he needs a sibling, and it's unfair to bring a baby into this world if they're unwanted by one of the parents. But we're not discussing a hypothetical baby anymore. The baby is already here, and it wasn't my choice either. I know that continuing the pregnancy against my husband's wishes could destroy our relationship and make our lives much more difficult. As a mom, I also know that I need to do what's best for my kids, not what might be best for me. But I don't know how I can possibly go through the trauma of an unwanted abortion and then be a happy mom to our 3-year-old and a good partner. How I can see my baby move on the screen. They always do an ultrasound before abortions here, just like Bowen did, and then take the pills. How I can live with this for the rest of my life, likely not being able to tell anyone in real life and always wondering what could have been. I don't think that my husband's worst-case scenario is very likely, but how can I roll the dice if he isn't on board? Our local abortion clinic offers free counseling, and we have booked an appointment for next week. I acknowledge that this is one of the toughest situations a couple can be put in, so it's not surprising that we haven't been able to come to a mutual decision on our own or even to understand our own feelings. I hope that counseling will help us think through the choices or help me accept the choice as it looks now. But if any of you has been in a similar situation, either as the mother or father, and can share some advice or perspective, I would be grateful to read it. I will show this thread to my husband too. Our next post is by Cuddles with Friends. My wife, 31F, broke up with me, 34M, and still expects me to help pay her share of the rent. My wife and I both make pretty good money, and we just signed a 12-month lease for an admittedly overpriced apartment in New York City, $6,000 a month for a 1-bedroom. We've been together 7.5 years, married for 2. She's been stressed about saving money, so I offered to pay $4,500 and she could pay only $1,500. We're both named on the lease. She broke up with me a month after signing, refuses to see a therapist to attempt to repair, and wants to move to Europe. We have a prenup which considers all of our personal finances separate, but says we'll split joint assets and debts 50-50, basically furniture and our joint credit card. Since we're broken up, I consider my offer to help pay her rent canceled, and we should each pay $3,000 a month until we can escape the lease. She thinks the offer still stands. She only has to pay $1,500 a month, leaving me paying $4,500 for an apartment I don't really want anymore. She really liked the place. It wasn't my first choice. She also asked if she could leave immediately and pay $0 since I'll have the apartment to myself. I've reached out to the landlord, and he said we're responsible for the full amount until the end of the lease, no exception. He suggested we stay together instead. Edit. I removed mention of the Swiss guy because it was misleading. She wanted to open our relationship, and I consented, so there was technically no cheating. But I do believe that guy is her primary motivation to move to Europe. Just Torianing writes in the comments, OP, put your $3K down on the table, that's all. Stop being her savior. She won't even care a dime about what you're doing for her. Get it to her head that since you all are over, you won't make any more sacrifices for her. Put yourself first. She is being extremely selfish and isn't even thinking about you. Thank you for listening to the Reddit Chronicles. Follow for more content.